to the After-Stream Ep.1. I'm your host, Smart Mark Wise, and tonight we are going to discuss the events of Extreme Episode 5 and the events leading up to it. So let's start off with our wins tonight. I would have to say our first win of the night would have to be the debut of Kira. Her first official match is a title match against Miss Ashley Milano. She showed a lot of promise, though she missed a few high-flying moves which may have turned out to be her downfall. But it can only get better from here, as it makes the women's division so much better. It was a hell of a debut, but it just seemed very unlikely that they would have Ashley lose to her for the title. Ashley herself is a very renowned wrestler, and having her lose to a rookie with the title would only hurt her in the long run. Our second win has to belong to Striker Reed. After getting squashed last week by the best of the net champion, Nathan Michaels, the Big Scott bounced back with his amazing agility to put a solid beating down on Arthur York. But even though he was pitted by Sid Reamer, I believe that may warrant an X-rated title shot in the near future. I'm just one person, but I have a lot of say and a lot of Twitter followers. So, moving on, our second debut of the night, Mark Crover? Yes, let's go with Crover. Mark Crover, the karate black belt who fought Mr. International in a Wrestling vs. Karate showcase. I was impressed and let down. It seemed that Mark would have won had International not put him through the steel barricade for the count. Fans obviously got a lot of enjoyment out of it, but I don't know, it may seem like a way to put Mark over without International losing any credit. But chalk up another W to Mr. International, although I'd love to see more between the two. One thing I have to say though is that Mark definitely needs to improve on his mic skills, but it's a solid start indeed. Another thing that was nice to see in this following Extreme was Matthias Marvel Fox taking on Mr. Wrestling. The two haven't been seen in action since Risky Business and continued to put on a wrestling showcase, though it kinda ended, there was no real finish, so that was kind of a letdown. It was a very good match. I mean, there was back and forth trading, lots of wrestling skill. I think Mr. Wrestling may still be hurt. I know that before the pay-per-view, sorry about that, he had his ribs taped up and but he claimed to be 100% at Risky Business. Perhaps he re-inched them at some point, maybe when Nathan popped him in the Tower Bridge. Maybe it's an angle being worked on here, I don't know. I'm looking forward to see what happens in the weeks to follow. So, next we're going to talk about the lone tag match in the card. Jinx and Jenna Storm against the bitter rivals, Ashley Milano and Madison. The Pretty in Pink women certainly worked together, though despite what I thought was a possible formation of a new tag team, Madison left Ashley to be pinned by Jinx. The two Pink ladies still have a lot of history, and Ashley did defeat Madison for the Hellcats title. So perhaps there's still some unfinished business there, but that doesn't take away from what Double J, Jenna, and Jinx accomplished, and that is defeat the current and former Hellcats champions. Maybe a number one contenders match between Jenna and Jinx is in order. Just saying, those are two up-and-coming stars, and Jenna just did take Raven, the women's champion, the Vixen champion, I should say, to the limit twice and lost to her at Risky Business. So, in our main event, geez, I cannot talk tonight, of the evening, we have Benson Dane pitted against the best of the net champion, Nathan Michaels, for the championships. Well, I thought it was a dramatic change in character for Benson Dane. He was aggressive, determined, and unwilling to back down against Nate, with the two brawling into the stands before the match even started. What was even more surprising was the return of Christian Goodchild, who KO'd both Nate and Benson with a steel chair. Although Nate still retains the title by disqualification, Christian was clearly demonstrating that he's not going away anytime soon. I can't see what develops from this three-way feud. Now, just a quick note, as emails start to flood in, a lot of fans were wondering where are Colt Stevens and Ravens. Colt Stevens, as everybody knows, won the big jackpot at Risky Business, guaranteeing him a title shot at any championship he desires. Raven is the current Mixon's champion, and other than a little romantic fling, I suppose, with Nathan Miles hasn't been seen in 2 weeks. Are they hurt? Are they attending to Superstorm Sandy? This is something that needs to be fixed ASAP. Those are 2 big stars, and I think it's only hurting Viral Pro not having them on. Well, that is all the time we have for tonight. Tonight's show has been brought to you by Viral Pro Wrestling 13. Play your favorite Viral Pro superstars in this continuously updating game in stores now. I'm Smart Mark Wise, and I hope you enjoyed the After Stream. See you next week.